Oh, I almost spilled my drink on my keyboard again. It's like a running gag now. But welcome, everyone. Jonah Schwickert here. I hope you're having a fantastic evening or morning or midday. For me, it's 7 p.m. in the evening. I've been working for you guys all day. And now I'm recording a very, very important lesson for you here for my Boogie Woogie Basics course. All right. So when you're watching this, you already made some great progress, and you can already play that left hand, a little bit of that right hand, and you're familiar with the basics of Boogie Woogie. But one of the main basics of Boogie Woogie is the rhythm, the swing, right? Because Boogie Woogie wouldn't be Boogie Woogie if it didn't have that swing to it. Otherwise, it would just be rock and roll, because that's pretty much the only difference. But why is the swing of Boogie Woogie so important? Well, the swing is something that we also use in jazz and some other musical genres like Latin, tango, everything that you can really dance to. But I think nothing compares to the danceability of Boogie Woogie, because Boogie Woogie really just gets my feet going, gets my blood boiling. But swing is something we use in Boogie Woogie to give it that danceability, and it's super, super important that you get this in early in your practice so you keep developing in that right direction. Because if you spend a year practicing boogie but you never really learn about swing like we're going to learn today, and you never know how to practice for it and what it even is, then you're going to have a hard time adjusting once you're realizing, wait, my boogie isn't swinging. When maybe someone else points it out after a year of practicing, right? So that's why I'm so happy you're a Boogie Woogie Mastery student here, because of course over here we take care of all of that and we truly build you up and turn you into a very professional, solid, excellent Boogie Woogie player in a short amount of time, the most amount of fun and motivation possible. All right? Now, let's get into this. So, what is swing? Like I said, swing is just a certain type of rhythm. Right? In music, we always count. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Usually you count until 4. There's also some songs where you count until 6. If you count until 6, usually it's romantic songs and ballads. But for most songs, like pop songs and also in Boogie Woogie, you just count until 4 for each bar. And the counting here represents the quarter notes. So each bar is made up of 4 quarter notes. So you're just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And we also cover this in the 12-bar blues progression a lot. So counting and individual bars, you're going to learn a lot in that lesson too. So don't think too much into this now, because we're just trying to get that feeling for the swing here. All right? But I had to mention this because an important differentiation in swing is that in swing you always count with the and. Okay, so you're not doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You're putting an and in between, because that's gonna create that swing. Putting in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Also known as, in our community here in Boogie Mastery, my students like to learn this as boom, ba dum, ba dum, ba dum. And the ba is the and the dum is the individual quarter note. So we got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, ba dum, ba dum, ba dum, ba dum, ba dum, ba dum, ba dum. Right? That's how you count the swing. So just listen to that a little and repeat it. There's also something crucial here to know, because you can also, for example, play Boogie Woogie in a straight feel, which is gonna sound unrecognizable to you, but I'll play it here for you for a second. I'll do a straight feel Boogie Woogie, not counting the and here, not integrating that swing. And then I'll do the swing right after so you can hear the difference. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, So you hear that it's instead of so you're counting the same amount of quarter notes, but you're giving them a different feel. You're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And with the and in a straight feeling, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? Now for the swing feeling, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you're just adjusting that and to go a little bit further to, closer to that next quarter note. So the 2 and 3 and 4. And in a straight feeling, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Swing feeling is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? It might seem like one is faster than the other, but actually the speed is the exact same. The speed is the same. If we would put on a metronome, you would realize, okay? And this straight rhythm, by the way, because I keep saying boogie and rock and roll are the same, because they are. Check this out. I'm gonna play a boogie woogie bass line with a swing, and then play that same bass line with a rock feeling, so a straight feeling and a swing feeling. You're gonna probably instantly recognize that the straight one just sounds like a certain rock song, maybe Jerry Lee Lewis, and the swing one sounds like a boogie, right? So check this out. We got. That's the swing, a nice boogie bass line, really nice. Black key here. Now we're gonna do that same one just in a rock rhythm. Okay, so that was a rock. Just played it through the whole 12-bar blues progression. You hear that difference, right? It's a straight rhythm and a swing rhythm. And that's what swing is. That's how you can feel it. That's how you can hear it, all right? And by the way, if you want to learn rock like that as well, let me know in one of our one-on-one lessons, because of course we can also focus on rock more here, because it's very, very similar. And if you're passionalized more in rock at the moment, or if you just like the sound of that here, let me know. We can work something out, and we can also work on rock a lot. But remember, when you're good at boogie woogie, rock comes naturally. It's a lot easier because you're not having that swing feeling, and playing a straight rhythm is easier than a swing rhythm with the riffs and everything. So when you're done with this course, the Boogie Basics course, and maybe the advanced in a month or in 2 months, then you're basically gonna be able to play rock anyway, right? So now, how do we practice the swing feeling? Now that's something super important, because if you watch the previous lesson, one of the previous lessons about how to practice, you know how to practice in general, effectively, efficiently. But what exercises can you do to practice that swing feeling? So when you're writing down what you're practicing for the next day, what can you write down to practice the swing feeling with, right? So I have 3 exercises for you, all right? One exercise is simply verbally counting out loud at a slow speed. And we covered the counting here. You're counting until 4. You're putting that and in between to represent the swing, which is also representing the eighth notes, but doesn't matter. Just think of it as and, because we never do the eighth notes. We don't count in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. It's way too much, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We do that instead, right? We do the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could also count like that, just counting the eighth notes until 8. But doing it like with the and is what everyone does. It's a lot better. So you know how to count, and the best exercise for this that I've found with my students that makes them make the most progress, and was also the most fun and the most motivating. To really just develop that swing feeling within a few days or a week, was just to verbally count out loud, all right, while practicing very slow. So you want to be practicing something while you're verbally counting. You don't just want to, count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, going about your day, which might help a little bit as well. So feel free to do that. But you want to, when you're practicing the bass line, for example, here, the one that you can play. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay? And it's always on the and remember, listen and repeat. So if you don't know when that and comes, just watch this lesson, put it on a few times, play it with me. But I think by now you already know that when you're at this point, just by practicing the bass line from the previous lessons. And the prerequisites for this, by the way, are that you have a pretty okay hand independence and that you can play the bass line here. You're not like searching for the notes 24/7. Here and there, not really knowing where to put your finger is fine. But in general, you should have the notes down because you just want to focus on that swing, on that rhythm here. So the first exercise, just verbally counting while playing. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And this is actually pretty fun, guys. Like, it might be you might have to get out your comfort zone at first, because maybe you've never talked loud while practicing piano, but it's great for hand independence, and for that swing feeling, it's essential that you talk out loud. 1 and a little slower. And 2. You can also whisper if there's other people in the house, because you need to hear it in your head, you need to feel it, and doing that verbally is much, much better than not doing it verbally. And stay on the C here, by the way. You don't necessarily have to go to the F and G, because that's just gonna mess up your focus on just getting that swing feeling down, because it's gonna be the same for F and G anyway, right? You don't need to change anything there. It's gonna be the exact same. So what you learn here on C, you're gonna have for the C anyway, and no matter if you practice it now or not. All right? That's the first exercise. So do that, 10 minutes a day, like usual. But remember, with the target first, action second principle. So really think about what you're going to practice, write it down the night before, and sit down on your piano and be like, okay, I have a timer on, maybe 10 minutes, and I'm just going to practice this swing feeling, counting verbally for 10 minutes, which might feel long because you're doing the same thing. But in the grand scheme of things, guys, sacrificing 10 minutes to be a little bit bored, to make incredible progress in just 10 minutes is going to be worth it, right? So endure the pain of your discipline there instead of the pain of regret of not doing it. So just sit down, 10 minutes, put a timer on, however long you want to do it, and really just, target first, action second. Boom, ba, dum, 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 ba, dum. So that's the best exercise that I have for you, and I have 2 more. Because if you can't do it so fluently with the bass line yet, an easier way to do this is just to use one key. Okay, that's the second exercise here. Just use the C with your 5th finger here and just go 1 and 2 because you're doing you're playing the same rhythm here, but you're not thinking about anything else but the rhythm, because you're just using one finger. You're not thinking about what keys to play in the bass line, struggling with your finger independence and so on. And only do this if you can't do it with the full bass line yet in like a slow speed, which I think you can, but if not, totally fine. Really, if you want to like challenge your brain, you can do both. If you can't do it with the bass line, just do this first. So I do it with you. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and so on. This might get very boring, so I do recommend just going way slower and doing it with the full bass line here. Alright? That's how you practice that. Now, the third lesson, the third exercise to really get that swing down once and for all is gonna be using a metronome. So you can buy a metronome for, I don't know, €5 or $5 in a store, or you can also use an app. And in the description of this lesson, I'll actually have a link to a good app on iPhone and on Android, and also for desktop. So just in the browser, I'll have 3 links: one for iPhone, one for Android, one for the browser on your desktop. To have a metronome, always handy. It's a really nice thing as a student. So either buy one or get it digitally, or do both. I use both from here and there. And by the way, if you don't know what a metronome is exactly, it's simply a device. It's going to keep a steady rhythm and help you do the same, right? Because we as humans, we're quite flawed, and this machine here is going to be perfect each time. So when we practice, and you even see this with the greats, everyone has a song online on YouTube, like a Boogie Woogie player. I have this too all the time, where you start off with this tempo, and then at the end you're in this tempo, right? Just because you kind of lost track and you felt that flow, and that's fine when you have a good bass and you're performing. But when you don't have a good bass and you're practicing, you don't want that. You don't want to change your steadiness and speed of practicing. You want to stay in one speed. It's so important. I can't stress this enough. It's probably the most important thing to really make fast progress with your practice and have efficient practice. We do this in classical music too, in jazz, and everything, right? So what you're going to do, you're going to put your metronome on 50, okay? I'll also put that in the description here of this lesson. You put your metronome on 50, and you're not going to count each beat, because on 50 it's like this. But what you're going to do for practicing swing, this might be a little challenging for you, and you can skip this if it's too annoying, if it's too tedious, because you can get a good feeling for it just by being slow and counting verbally. But this is really good, and once you learn how to use a metronome, it's going to help you forever anyway. So put it on 50, and each click that you hear on 50 represents a quarter note. All right, I'm going to show you this in a second, because it doesn't represent an eighth note or an and or a ba, right? It's just the straight notes, like how we would count in rock and roll or in pop songs. If it's a straight rhythm, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So how do we practice with this rhythm going? Okay, you're going to have to still count the eighth notes, so the swing, the and, the ba. You're gonna have to count that still, and that's exactly the challenge here. What's gonna make you really ingrain that swing feeling a lot faster, because when you have this on, you're only hearing the quarter notes. You're only hearing 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But to get that swing, as we know, you need to count the and. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna imagine the and, or you're gonna verbally count it. You're gonna go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. So you see how the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, or each dum, 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 each dum or each quarter note is on the beat here. But the and, the ba, I'm counting in my head or verbally. And that's how you're gonna keep a rhythm here steadily, because the machine here, it keeps the rhythm. And how to practice with this is quite simple. Just gonna put it on. You're gonna start counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And you're gonna get that feel for it, how fast it is, so you can always hit the quarter notes with your speech on the right timing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you see, keeping that rhythm, 3 and 4 and 1. And it's very crucial to land on the 1 here on the beat, right? I'm always landing on the 1, perfectly timed. Hard to do 4 things at once here. Now this is a little advanced, and that's okay. You can also reduce the speed. You can go to 46, just a little slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And the benefit of doing this is that you're thinking, like, you're gonna realize it's quite hard, it's quite exhausting, because you're always thinking and trying to keep that rhythm and readjusting, because you're gonna see you're gonna either be too slow at some points or you're gonna be too fast at some points. And that's exactly what you want, because you have this thing here to pull you back into the correct rhythm and into the swing feeling. And not using it with this, you run into the risk of potentially getting out of the rhythm, being too fast, being too slow, all of a sudden being faster afterwards, and not making as fast of a progress as with a metronome. All right. So the 3 exercises here are really all you need to play around with, to develop that swing feeling and never lose it for the rest of your life. All right, especially the metronome. We can also work with the metronome in our lessons. I recommend this. If you have questions about it, or if you can't really get it down, message me, call me, bring it up in one of our lessons, and I'll teach it to you more intensely, so that you have this tool to practice with and to really make amazing progress with your swing feeling, so that you can always keep it, even when later on you're going to be a fast, professional, great boogie woogie player. You're going to still have that swing, and that's what separates the good from the great. Oftentimes it's the swing, right? Because if you play a super simple boogie woogie, but you have a swing feeling and you have a backbeat to it, which I'm covering next, by the way, which is another super crucial key secret that most people don't teach. Most great pianists have, but nobody really knows about it. The backbeat, it's part of the left hand. But if you have those 2 things, the swing, the backbeat, you can play the most simple riffs, the most simple everything, and it's gonna sound great, and people are gonna dance to it, and people are gonna be impressed by it. That's why it's so important. I'm glad this lesson is 25 minutes long, because it's a very important lesson for you to just know about it, for you to have 3 great exercises. The single key swing, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then the boogie bassline swing verbally, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then the metronome swing, either with the bassline or single note as well, right? So 1, I'll actually put it on again here. Remember, these are just the quarter notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. See? Because I have to find the rhythm first. So I needed some time to adjust and even think, where do the and notes go here, right? 1 and 2, now 3. Now I got it. And 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Once you got this, it's really fun. Because it's like a game. You're trying to hit that beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. You saw that? Maybe you caught that, because I lost rhythm for just a split second there. And that was great. Great example. Because then I had to pause for a second, because I knew I was off the beat and I would have hit the C too early. So I had to like readjust and listen, and then I hit it perfectly, and then I was back in the rhythm. That's the power of the metronome. That's why it's important. It's not there to keep you in the rhythm 24/7 at all times. That's not what it's for. It's actually there to help you realize when you're out of the rhythm and pull you back into it. That's a common misconception people have. People think the metronome is supposed to make the rhythm perfect. The metronome is like meditating. You know, when you're meditating and you catch your mind wandering off, the goal of meditation isn't that your mind never wanders off. The goal is to realize it's wandering off and pull it back to your breath or whatever you're focusing on while meditating. For metronome practice, it's the exact same thing. You're practicing and the metronome is just there so that you notice when you're going a little overboard and you're losing your rhythm, so you can readjust, right? So you can find that click again and start in on the click again. And then you know where you have the 1 and where you put the and, okay? That's how you get that, that crucial swing feeling and become a really good boogie pianist. I'm so proud of you. This was a hard lesson, you know, a lot of knowledge here, and one exercise with the metronome is quite difficult here. So maybe rewatch it if you need to, if you want to get even better with it, or bring it up in one of our lessons. Call me up, whatever you need. I'm here for you to make amazing progress, to answer any questions you have, and to really just turn you into that boogie player that you deserve to be. All right? So leave any questions too. You know, you can, as usual, just leave a post or write them down for our lessons. And the next lesson here is going to be about the backbeat, which is similarly important to the swing. Most people miss it. So make sure you watch that lesson and really focus on it. You know, maybe don't watch it after work or in the evening. Watch it in the morning when your mind is fresh with your coffee, right? Maybe watch that lesson then, because it's really going to be a very important lesson you don't want to miss. All right, so happy practicing. I'll see you around in one of our lessons or whenever. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Take care.